Hey, it's me. Whatever it was I decided my name will be. Dad's sorry about being off schedule, but I had to run to the store for some smokes. That's a lie. The truth was I've been distracted by the election and Fish Tank Season 3. Like many grown adults, I sometimes have a fever dream taking me back years. The other day it was the horrible year of 2009, those god-awful seeing real shows, and the only way I can make those memories go away is to inform you, dear viewer, of my obvious hot takes. Rules. For this video, I'll discuss 3 live-action shows from Seeing Real. Second rule is I'll make up more rules as we go on, and the third rule is that only one movie will be discussed, as it acts as the precursor to everything else, so I won't talk about that live-action Ben 10 movie, though that still haunts my subconscious. This is about live-action shows, not movies. It all started in 2006 with the movie Reanimated.
Reanimated! Cartoon Network's first live-action movie is coming to DVD!
For those that don't know, animation is expensive, and filming with some kids with a camera and adding CGI is cheap. Hell, the voice actors of The Simpsons used to be paid over $200,000 an episode back in the day, but that was during The Simpsons' height, along with being on Fox and not Cartoon Network. So for Cartoon Network, live action was an easy way to save money during show production. A great scale of this movie's popularity is the fact that I had to rip the video from YouTube because no one had even bothered to upload a torrent in, I think, 10 years. I would later find the show on another site. This movie can best be described as a cringe-invoking mess of ideas created by children hopped up on Ritalin, aka the diet meth, and poorly executed by some suits who forgot they work for the Cartoon Network. Starring Dominic Janes, aka Young Dexter. Along with Jimmy, there's also his idiot father.
Dad, let's go. I need to get to school early.
What? I'm not done with my sugar cube crunchums. Each bite is a sugary jolt of life. Oh, what?
Astronaut mother.
Mom, I don't have time. I have to get to school.
Please, liftoff's in 20 minutes and I still have to pack everyone's lunches.
And adopted alien stepsister.
Why can't Yancy do it?
Because you're my little brother, and even touching earth food makes both my stomachs churn.
He's on a quest to become popular, along with asking out his Asian friend's sister. Total violation of the bro code. Being a complete pushover, this is impossible until the Not Disney Corporation must transfer not Walt Disney's brain into some kid to avoid a lawsuit at Not Disney World. So for the benefit of those who don't know, a popular playground rumor back in the day was that Walt Disney had his brain and or body frozen in the hopes that one day he could be revived, and they made a movie and cartoon about it for some reason. Imagine that's the inspiration for your cartoon, playground rumor. Good thing this is all bullshit, because I feel like if Walt Disney really would be revived today, he'd go post on Modern Disney. One thing to allow the people of color into the park, but another to host pride events. Imagine Walt would probably go on a meth-fueled murder spree over that kind of stuff. Anyway, Not Walt's son wants to steal the brain because having the brain activates the schizophrenia needed to see Not Walt's famous characters. A few of the jokes are okay, but I say that as an adult. Most of the jokes are dad jokes, so it makes sense.
Congratulations, fella! You just inherited the greatest mind in the world!
Nuh-uh, I'm the greatest mime in the world.
Not mime, you pea-brained crocodile! Mind!
Hey, I'm a pea-brained alligator. Croco's a family name.
The movie was horrible, and I don't care to remember it existed. See, the final rule, we're not covering the movie. Moving on to the show now, Out of Jimmy's Head, which premiered in September of 2007. I believe this was the time I stopped watching Cartoon Network, but I kept it on for background noise as I started to grow out of the target audience. The show was a painful watch and even harder to find torrents for. Sadly for me, this was a show and I can find torrents when it matters. The only real standout from the show is that our schizo's token friend, and by relation crush, has been race-swapped like a Netflix spinoff. My guess is one or both of these Asians were smart enough to know this was going to bring further dishonor and wisely went to another role. For my short time on IMDb, Terrence Hardy, as Easily Excited Kid, was the only actor that went on to have a relatively healthy career. So, good for him. Anyway, things continue more or less like in the movie, except everything's a bit more wacky. All in all, things play like they belong on one of those Nick shows you saw one time and never again. Honestly, the show may have gone better on Nick, seeing as their audience is used to these kind of low-budget live-action shows. Everything kind of feels like a rejected Ned's Declassified skit, and it has that weird, just rhyming to it.
Dude, she's like the worst principal yet.
Not as bad as Principal 11.
Was that the one that we tricked into thinking that he was invisible?
No, that's the one we convinced was a rightful king of the underground city.
Yeah, I just got a postcard from him. Still digging. So,
a fine example of the wacky is episode 1, where Jimmy and Craig go on to gaslight the principal into quitting. They do this by convincing her that she's shrinking from stress. Fake news articles, tailoring her jacket to be larger, props. Somehow the spineless duo have gotten over 40 principals to quit and want to continue to do so until it's discovered that Jimmy's dad will be the principal. You know, the idiot from before. The animation comes into place as a gag, but little of the episode has animation as to save on the budget. Once again, animation is expensive, filming kids, cheap. You can tell they skipped out on the budget with how the characters kind of float. I've heard this was animated in Flash, but that's not an excuse. Greatest problem with the show is that the side characters are more interesting, like this MK Ultra victim.
Jimmy wasn't that lame.
I'm in all the way. My name's Jake.
Craig.
I like you, Craig. You relax me. You need supplies? I got supplies.
You know, I'm not sure.
Too late for that now, Craig. We're gonna be best friends. Forever. As long as you never take back one word, I can always find you. And you always look me directly in the eyes.
Or this illegal animal trader. The only other interesting episode, in my opinion, would be the one where Jimmy uses his connections to not Disney as the corporate messiah to install a roller coaster inside to impress Craig's sister, who Jimmy still has a crush on. They get stuck on it for a few days. Later, they discover the roller coaster is being dismantled for being a screaming metal death trap. Funny how not Disney has almost killed this kid twice. Anyway, should you watch this? I thought it was funnier than when it aired, but I'm nearly in my 30s. Maybe if you're morbidly curious, most of this was lost media for a reason. I want to say they found it on like a Romanian recording or something. Who knows, who cares. New rule, I'm reviewing these in whatever order I found the media, not like Cartoon Network cares when entire episodes are up on YouTube. Just search it, you can find it all. Othersiders, 2008. I thought this was called Outsiders, which really hindered my quest to find this. Thankfully, Google understood shitty Cartoon Network ghost show. Listen, if you've ever seen one of those ghost hunting shows, you've seen this before. Starring 5 teenagers between the ages of 13 and 16, our heroes go to the most haunted locations within the whole of California. Surprised that of the 2 seasons and 23 episodes, that they didn't visit one abortion clinic. You've seen this before walking around in the dark with the night vision, and our heroes shit themselves at any sound.
This is scary. Locals say a history of gruesome acts have left this land charged with restless spirits.
If you're here with us, can you give us a sign? Sure.
Will the team debunk these reports as mere urban legend? Or will they conclude this mission is a hotbed of paranormal activity?
Guess my favorite character is not Freddy, the tech nerd who the show says 100% invented these gadgets.
You picking up anything on the thermal camera?
The thermal camera reads temperature around us, and sometimes spirits can give off abnormal hot and cold spots, so we use it to detect them.
I wish I knew how they pitched this show at Cartoon Network. While this is not for me, I've seen people who were fans of the show, so if you liked the show back in the day, I guess check it out now. You might have a laugh or two. Really, this one is short because I personally can't stand these shows. When I want a paranormal experience, I hold my front door open and tell that anyone that wants to come in can come in. Wait for results, repeat as long as necessary. Don't really do that, I'm not at fault. Wish I could tell you more, but every episode is the same, spare the ending part where they vote if the location is haunted or not.
Yeah, I mean, for someone to directly answer my question in Spanish is pretty cool, so I'm gonna have to call this place haunted.
I'll make it up to you with a show that I actually kind of want to talk about, and that will be Tower Prep from 2007. This show was the pinnacle of live-action Cartoon Network shows. That is a low bar, but damn if they didn't try to make something great out of this. Othersiders is a poor man's Ghost Hunters, and Jimmy's head feels like it was greenlit on a dare. Tower Prep, though, was a show I liked as a child and enjoyed as a man-child. Our journey starts with Ian Archer on a quest to return home after being isekai'd to a boarding school by an AI he meets in an MMO. No, I'm not joking.
Wow, Slayer, you got skills.
Thanks. Whisper 119, haven't seen you in the game before.
Hey, first tone. Better motivate, you'll miss breakfast.
Ian, being the chat he is, decides he isn't sticking around for class and tries to leave the school. While being hunted by monsters in the woods, he meets 3 other would-be escapees and forms an alliance to discover Towers Prep's mysteries and escape the school. While the effects are cheap, this is a team drama, so it's easier to give away these kind of things when your target audience is American teenagers. So why is Ian and the others here? Because they all have some special power. Ian can see a few seconds into the future and react. Gabe has the power to gaslight people into going along with his bullshit.
Yeah, I think Gabe used his skills on you. Again. Oh, I reported the property loss to a monitor. What was that?
Why are you always hyper-persuading me into doing your chores? Huh? Convincing me into thinking I enjoy making your bed?
Howard, I was out filling a missing property report, okay? Plus, we talked about this. You love making my bed.
Suki can copy anything she sees or hears.
What a lamentable thing it is that men should blame the gods and regard us as a source of their troubles, when it is their own transgressions which bring them suffering. That was not their destiny.
Wow. Who are you using for Zeus's voice? It's perfect.
My Uncle Orson.
And CJ is the weak link who has perfect perception, like any woman that you date.
This is interesting. He's incredibly smart and has a very heroic nature, but he doesn't think he's smart or heroic enough. But he thinks you, Ian, might be. He wrote these notes the way he did to test you. Finding the Cyclops skull means you've passed that trial, but now you have to retrace your journey in order to go forward and find him.
You got all that just from analyzing his writing?
Plus, that's exactly what he's written on this page.
The school's purpose is to train students to use their full potential. For what purpose? None of the students know and the staff won't tell them. Other characters are there, but the most fascinating for me is Whisper 119, an AI that controls the school and is the same AI that was found in the MMO. It was at this point that I lost my notes while cleaning, so we're going to take time to talk about my favorite episode, Episode 5, The Rooks. For some reason, Tower Prep has a secret fraternity called The Rooks, who are like the Skull and Bones Society. They're an illegal club, and they go around kidnapping students that they want to haze to join their club. Ian Giga Chad Archer thinks they're a bunch of LARPing nerds and wants to leave, but Gabe wants in, and they have some sort of magic potion called Raven's Blood that increases their powers. Ian just wants to know how Raven's Blood works, so he sticks around until he can steal it. Gabe stays around even after he has to wear a skirt. Anyway, the head rook, who calls himself Odin, gets turned down by Worst Girl and decides that his secret society will attack the school dance where Gabe stands up to them and they go to prison.
Warned you.
Wait! Please, you can't do this.
I can't? You're gonna stop me?
No. I am.
Follow-up best episode, in my opinion, was episode 6, where Ian has 2 weeks to read an abridged copy of the Odyssey. As someone that's read an unabridged copy of the Iliad in middle school, I am disgusted by the weakness displayed. Anyway, Ian has a mental breakdown and thinks the notes written in the book are talking to him and can help him escape the school.
Real insightful, dude. The notes about who's talking in the story. I get it.
They do a fun little parody of the Odyssey and survive through the power of friendship while learning more about the school.
You were assigned this book in lit class. Did you write these notes?
The only notes I write are love notes. Right now, I'm writing an essay for sociology on the history of kissing. Do you want to help me do a little research for it?
For some reason, there was a Cyclops skull and what appears to be a monster cemetery, which, you know, kind of freaky. Yeah, a little off topic, but Gabe actually has this theory that the seniors that graduate get turned into this weird beef stew that they have to eat at the beginning of each year, and the mass graves might leave something to the, theory. I will warn anyone interested in this that the show was never picked up for a season 2. From what I've been told, this was due to the success of Adventure Time and regular show, so while that sucks, those shows are objectively better media. While the show leaves off at an okay point, it doesn't answer all the questions. Tower Prep exists as a forgotten time where Cartoon Network nearly destroyed themselves by making media that nobody wanted to watch. Good thing they learned their lesson, right? Anyway, that's all I have. Bit of trivia here, but this video was conceived while I was drunkenly attempting to explain to my friends that all this really happened, and while there are still 7 or so other shows, I'm not motivated enough to watch them. 20 likes and I will, but this was an exercise for me in script writing and video editing. For 20 likes, you Byzantine fetishist can make me suffer by having me review another 3 shows, and none of them are as good as Tower Prep. Till our next meeting, I'm whatever I named myself. Good night.